Very good afternoon to all. So we are talking about humans since morning, and we have been talking about our society and all. But the paper that I am proposing is a paper which has the title Post Anthropocene. So what is Post Anthropocene and what is Anthropocene? We'll talk about that. So the research started with a single question, which is that is it time to move past the Anthropocene? Is it time to move past the age of humans? And these are the research objectives. So the aim of the paper mostly is to consolidate all the research that is there about Anthropocene, post-Anthropocene, and everything that is happening, consolidate it in one place in terms of with the lens of design, and then to investigate the post-Anthropocene design ideologies and their shortcomings, and to identify if the more than human agencies, which I'll come and explain later, are able to come and fill those gaps, right? And this was the simple methodology that was followed, because it's a consolidation paper, so it was more of an analysis of all the literature existing. So first I go with Anthropocene. So what is Anthropocene? We are already talking about the age of humans, and this term was coined by Dr. Krebsen in the year 2000 in a conference, and he said that humans are the driving factors of planetary change right now. So it is only fair that we call the age by the name of humans and call it Anthropocene, right? So, but there have been a lot of advantages during the Anthropocene. The first thing being that all design ideologies have now centered around humans and human comfort. So we have created controlled environments, we have created new materials and technologies, we have utilized new forms of energy, right? And because of which there is a lot of convenience and comfort in our lives, right? We have come with terms such as inclusivity, accessibility, universal design, design for all, social justice, and at the same time we have also come up with terms such as sustainability, sustainable development. So all of these have been the positive benefits of Anthropocene. But at the same time, what have been the shortcomings? So the first major shortcoming is that because we are prioritizing human comfort, so a lot of time to prioritize aesthetics, we tend to marginalize some part of the community, right? Second major shortcoming has been that because of the collective impact that this design is causing, we have caused a lot of planetary destruction, and global scale planetary changes have been there at a never before seen rate, right? Urbanization and technology, then also they struggle to balance human needs and broader social, economic and environmental consideration, which is why the need for sustainable development eventually came up in the first place. And last but not the least, we use the term inclusive and universal design, but that inclusivity and universal design is only meant for humans. It's not meant for the other life that we share the planet with, right? So that is why we come to post-Anthropocene. Post-Anthropocene design ideology decentered from humans. When we often think about post-Anthropocene, we look at media and we think about a time when the humans are not there. But that is not what post-Anthropocene actually means. It means that it is about a time where humans are not the focal point of all living creation, right? And because of which we identify the more than human agencies. So first we have that, okay, we share our earth with flora and fauna, with animals and plants. We know that these are living things and we share our planet with them. But an important thing about the current age is that we are sharing a living space with a lot of technology. We are so interconnected and interdependent on technologies that it has become a living entity on its own. So by incorporating all of these agents together is what we call more than human, and adding human to that more than human component is what I am calling as the post-Anthropocene design agencies. That these are the stakeholders, these are the design agencies, these are the agents that will shape future design for our sustainable development, right? And so what are the ideologies that are being suggested, or that have been suggested over the course of discourse of, so this ideology came out around 2015, and since the past 10 odd years, what are the discourse that has been come up? So the first is that designing spaces that coexist with nature. Now this is not a new concept per se, but we don't understand what coexisting with nature meant, right? We in India, we already had vernacular systems. If you go to villages, this thing is already being practiced. We have so many practices where we live with plants. For example, in Meghalaya, as we know, there are these bridges that are being created using living roots, right? They don't create artificial bridges. They use plants for their own purposes. And then we also have approaches such as biomimicry, biophilic design, which are like these incorporate these other stakeholders, right? We are not just limiting ourselves to artificial materials anymore. And the third and the important one is that the integration of technology. So we are not saying that we'll only use plants and animals, but we are also saying that the technology that we have in our hand, that has to be used with these elements, not in isolation. That does not mean that modern development can only be with technology. It has to be with technology and with the other more than human elements, right? And it's not like this is a new concept. We have certain projects that are there. We have a project like autonomous transhumans, Terra Zero, and Heliobots. So Heliobots is a very interesting project because it is a project about modifying plants as they grow. So they don't do anything. They just stick a small robot to the stalk of, or the trunk of the plant, and as it is growing, they bend it into the shape that they need. Right. Yeah. So this is just my last slide, and this is the conclusion. So that in like we are at a stage in which just depending on ourselves and our technology is not sufficient for the survival of the planet. So we need to incorporate these other existing elements. And for way forward, I feel that because we are incorporating non-human elements, we need to understand the metrics, the design requirements for their survival. A very simple example, for an aquarium, we need to know how a fish can survive, right? So it's those simple ideologies. So thank you. And if there are any questions, then you're welcome to ask.
You are giving two different ideologies, Anthropocene and Post Anthropocene.
Yes.
And both are infected by the thinking about matter.
Yeah.
And I'm very amazed to understand that one thing which is occurred because of the Anthropocene, the same thing is we are happening and doing in the Post Anthropocene, dealing with the machines. Do you think this comes to the solution of the sustainable future? I'm very amazed with this.
Okay. So I would like to thank you for the question, and I would like to take it from a slightly different lens. Whenever something new comes up, right, it's and if it becomes a trend, then it's very difficult to bring that trend down, right? We are increasingly growing dependent on technology. So immediately shifting away from technology is not really feasible for a survival anymore, right? Because we are used to comfort. हमारे घरों में एसी है, हम अचानक बोलेंगे कि नहीं एसी यूज करना कम कर दो तो लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होगी. So why not we use, or like rather than growing away from it, we should use that to our advantage. Right? We shouldn't say that everything is bad, because there is nothing black or white. There is always a gray lining in between, right? So rather than just completely blaming everything on technology, we can start using them for our advantages.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.